Alright, so sort of quick comment call today. This is kind of I got this book for a very cheap price. This was a replacement, not a replacement, it was a refund. I got a refund for a book, and with that money, I got this book instead. The first book I got, and ironically, it was both anthology books. Does it actually say that back here? I wonder if it does. The first one was just like the tiniest book I think I've ever seen of a comic. Maybe even a book. It was like a mass market paperback, but it was a comic, basically. Honestly, I think it was only a bit bigger than that. And I already have troubles reading mass market paperback when it's text, but when it's comics and it's artwork and it's word balloons, that's even worse. And it was already one I wasn't so like, it was kind of like, it's a cheap book, let's get it, and then why not? And it was just there's like, I think 3 reasons why I wanted them, and they all kind of stopped. They all kind of why you get this book for this reason. And always I'm not the biggest fan of anthology books because it's just a bunch of authors. And I'm like, oh, I'm getting it for, let's say, Steve Orlando, but Anthony Johnston, the comic book I had nothing of his from, he also has a book there. So now, what if I like that one? I have to get everything Anthony Johnson. I'm already planning on getting that. Maybe sometime soon. Not this month, obviously. Not this month, unfortunately. Because I already have a lot that I'm getting, and I can't afford to put that in there. Or there will be something like, oh, I'm getting it for Kelly Sue DeConnick and Becky Cloonan and Garth Ennis. And oh, Paul Dini has a story in an Image book. That's pretty cool. But then you'll also have an author I don't like Tim Seeley, or what's another author I don't like? Tom King, technically, although I wouldn't mind getting that. That would be, it's kind of a bad example. But you get the idea. But without further ado, let's just show it off. This is Yesterday's Tomorrow's, and this looks like a textbook. This is a Ryan Hughes collected comics version. Now, I don't know if you can see from here, but Grant Morrison, and this is Image. I didn't know that. I thought the only 2 things that Grant Morrison, well, technically 3, the only 2 things Grant Morrison had done for Image were Happy and Nameless, and 2 issues of Spawn I don't care about, because I don't count Spawn. It's like, I need everything by the author. Spawn does not count. But this did, because this is, not only do we have 2 stories from Grant Morrison in here. Don't know, my iPad is already dying. But you also have, they're also pretty, long. One of them, I think, is up to 80 pages. There's a collected edition that just collects that. It's from a different publisher, though. And it's a hardcover, and it's 80 pages. And knowing that publisher, I think it's Dynamite. I could be wrong. It's Dan Dare, so I imagine they still own the rights. I found out the hard way that Dan Dare was not created by Grant Morrison, but it was created way back in the 1950s. So I'm not going to count it as, oh, the Spawn and the Darkness and the Witchblade, they didn't swing for any of those 3. That's not really by them, so it's, I don't count it. But Dan Dare's been around since 1950. It's kind of like, why not? So we have 2 stories by Grant Morrison. One's Dan Dare, and then the second is Really and Truly. Then we have Tom DeHaven, Raymond Chandler's Goldfish. Then we have John Freeman, The Science Service, and then Chris Reynolds, The Lated Cities. Now, if I'm not mistaken, there is a Goldfish series that English called Definitive Edition, so I probably have the less definitive edition. There's that trade by Image. I wonder if it collects more than this. I hope it doesn't, but if it does, I hope it's just like sketches and stupid shit I don't care about. Variant covers. So here's actually. So it actually does. It's 1 of 4 for Dan Dare. If you can see them, if you see on the back here. That's pretty cool. Now this book, let's actually go to, because they have a table. They have a table of contents. They give you not table of contents. Page count. Let's see. 264 pages. And I got this book for $6. Now, this is Used Very Good, but honestly, this is what I want from Used Very Good. Like, blemishes, you can tell, yeah, it's not used like new, but, very few blemishes. Honestly, looking at like this, I can't tell there's anything wrong with this book. And the reason why I'm kind of annoyed about that is because the Couriers had come in, honestly, compared to this, used good condition, maybe even used acceptable. The only reason why I got that is I had to sacrifice getting used very good for Couriers because I didn't want to pay too much for my replacement. I couldn't return the other book, So I had to basically buy the book again. I had to buy the book again. Um, and I mean, it's not bad. It's just like a lot of blemishes on it. And it's like that got it's not used very good. I wouldn't say. But whatever. And honestly, like I keep saying for these books, a lot of these blemishes are the same kinds of blemishes that I have on Amazon books. Like I bought used and that weren't used, that were like new condition. Because Amazon shipping is a little bit annoying sometimes. Could be any number of things. So yeah, I did already go over these. The Science Service for John Freeman, and I accidentally said Secret Service because I was thinking of Kingsman. Honestly, the first time I seen it, I saw the same thing. So they have little quotes in the back here. No one I recognize. So we're not going to say any of them. But yeah, this one looked pretty cool. I got it for $6. I'm glad I got it. And shipped a day early too. It said coming in Tuesday, and I got it Monday. Pretty cool. Yeah, flipping through this book, I'll show the artwork. Let's do it for Dan Dare. How about that? Or the other book. Yeah, where's the other Grant Morrison book? I imagine it's in order, so... Oh, is this still Dan Dare? It's still Dan Dare. So here is the artwork for Dan Dare. And you can tell this is a bit different than your average comic book. Like, the way that the word balloons are, the artwork, pretty much everything. It's a bit different than your average comic, but I don't care. But yeah, this is... It's kind of, again, it's funny how it looks like a textbook. But that, as I say, is that. I am very pleased with this copy, condition, and everything. But I wouldn't mind if this was a book that had the couriers in this traded condition. It's like this was a lot more like disheveled. There's a lot more like binding. The binding. The spine here was a little bent, like that one was, or not bent, but like ripped here. But hey, at least the courier is a new copy, even though it's used very good. The binding is still better than the used like new copy I got. I don't think they know it was the last book in stock at the third party seller I got it from. Again, I don't blame the third party seller for either book. The used very good one probably, but the used like new one I don't blame them. Again, like I said before, there was no way of knowing until you opened the book, and it's entirely possible that it was the shipper's fault. Like it was going from place to place, and someone didn't handle it very well, or it was the person that gave it to half-price books and just didn't say anything and like covered his tracks really well. I don't blame the third-party seller because they're pretty good. It's half-price books with blue. I don't think I can't say I've ordered anything from them, but they did have a copy of this used like new from them, and I was like, you know what, based off last time, let's not do that. I mean, I don't blame the third-party seller for that mistake, but still, maybe we shouldn't do that. That as I say is that. So technically it does collect issues. Let's see if it says the same thing on the back here. It did go over what it collected. I mean, some of them are just like originally in like one of the Grant Morrison ones, the really and truly was originally in 2000 AD comics issues. I want to see how long that book is. It's nice that all these issues are like all these stories are really long. You know, it's not just like a 10-page. It's not like an 18 10-page stories. No, it's a good length of book. And I was a bit worried. I was like, they could always say like, oh yeah, it collects the whole thing, but the hardcover is the one that collects everything. The soft cover is like a what do you call it? What do you call it? Like the discounted version. There's another word for it. But yeah, it's like a discounted. Okay, still Dare. Goldfish. Oh, I can just see here. I don't have to go like. There you go. Really and truly. You would think that the two Grant Morrison books would be right next to one another. Really and truly. Okay, so that is the last story. Cool. And it ends at 221 and starts at 182. So that is nice. So got two big Grant Morrison books in here. One, yes, is his interpretation of a character that wasn't created by him, but the other one seems to be. But still, two thick Grant Morrison books in this already thick book. I don't know anything about Chris Reynolds or John Freeman or Tom DeHaven. Entirely possible they have other shit from Image, but we shall see. Um, but that, as I say, is that I think I've made this video long enough. It's kind of going over the book, kind of showing what the book was. I mean, I don't mind doing, like, I hope you guys don't mind me doing, like, a more in-depth review. So yeah, nothing too crazy with these. This is by the Bookhouse Boys, by the way, and I 100% recommend them. The only thing I got from them was one, the use very good is like a 50-50 if it's gonna be like use very good and like very good, like literally very good, or used very good, where there's a lot of blemishes. They still can call it used very good, but you know. But this honestly, they could have gotten away with saying used like new, and I would not bat an eye. But that, as I say, is that.